10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2.
It's 9 o'clock Eastern. You know what time it is. It is the Competition Plus Power Hour. I'm your host, Dujane Bland. Over there is my guy, Dave W. And Lee Craft is on assignment. What's up? What's up, Dave? How you doing?
Oh, you know, I'm telling you what, I was doing a lot better 2 days ago when we were in Dunn, North Carolina at Durana Raceway at formerly Galat Motorsports Park because beautiful 70 degrees during the day, 50s at night, and airplane lands, look out the window, and it's snow and 20 degrees, man. Welcome to Michigan. Welcome home. But I guess I heard everybody else down south, even a little bit further, still getting it, so I don't feel as bad. But, man, what a change it was to go from there to here. And also just sad in general because that's the last one of the year because, man, that was – talking about saving the best for last. What a race they put on down in North Carolina this last weekend.
It was fantastic. Everything about it, from the aesthetics, all the cool stuff that they brought, for fans. The fans showed up. The racing was great. It was a way to really end things with a bang. It really got you really looking forward to 2026. We're right there with you right about now. The low for tonight will be 25. We are under another freeze warning for the night, and it will be a cold 53 tomorrow. So it's my kind of weather. I'm happy. I mean,
that makes me happy.
This year's been roasted, and I'm ready for some cold weather. So, indeed. Look, we've got a great show tonight. We've got Scott Woodruff on first. He's going to talk about the comings and the things going on with the IHRA, some of the things that he's been doing to kind of help with all the cool stuff that's going on. And we'll have on the Fuel Altered winner, Paul Miller. I'm looking forward to both of those guests.
Oh, yeah.
Well, we're going to kick this thing off right, and we're going to start the night off with the people we start off with every night, and that's Weldon High Performance. And after this commercial break, we'll have Scott Woodruff. What's going on, man? Throwing one back.
Great. How are you?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great. Tell the fans, what is your role with the IHRA?
Well, I'm not really a titles person, but I'm part of the leadership team. How's that?
That'll work. That'll work.
No, it's it's an exciting time right now with the IHRA and obviously coming off a fantastic weekend down in Dunn, North Carolina, and I think the good Lord was smiling on us because the week before the weather didn't look too good, and it doesn't look very good down there right now. So somebody really wanted us to show off and show out. So that's exactly what we did, and we had a great time. I think the fans enjoyed themselves. We had some great competition on the track and some exciting elements off the track.
Well, and that's what I'd like you to expand on a little bit. I mean, you're dead right on that weather, man. We were hearing that the storm might be coming in on Saturday night and encroaching on the final rounds, and it all stayed away. We got the whole deal in, but some of the off-track stuff, speaking of after the final rounds, we had bull riding. Everybody emptied the stands, went over to the other stands, got to catch up the bull riding. The Ferris wheel was a huge hit. I had a couple go-arounds on it. That was awesome. Just talk about some of the behind-the-scenes stuff and getting these types of additional extra entertainment brought in with the IHRA.
Well, first and foremost, I've got to apologize to my wife because we talked about going up in the Ferris wheel, and I was supposed to give her a kiss on the top, and I got a little busy, to say the least. But no, we've got such a good group of people on our team that really are passionate and care about what we're doing. And really our leader, Daryl, he's really helping us change the game. And I've kind of explained it like this, that we really do have a blank canvas. Yes, we're racing and all that's great. But at the end of the day, people show up and pay to buy a ticket to be entertained. And, I really think the Ferris wheel was such a great visual. The bull riding was just, let's be honest, they've done that, and they do that at the Texas Motorplex during the Stampede of Speed. And they do a fantastic job. They've got a 14-day event, I believe, and try and do something different, unique each day. And, we really wanted to make our event be different. We want it to be fun. We want it to be fan friendly. And I think we accomplished a lot this year. I came on late in the year in the July month, and since then, there's a lot of really good people that have put a ton of time in. Larry Morgan, Doug Foley, and the list really goes on. But those two really, honestly, deserve a ton of credit for what they were able to get started. Basically they locked themselves in a conference room for months working on this year, this 2025 year. And, as a group, we're extremely excited to not be so reactionary like we were in 2025 and really have a real good plan going into 2026. That's really what today was about in the office was, all of us sitting down in the leadership group, talking through, what worked, what didn't work, what are 3 things that we want to keep, what are 3 things that we'd like to get rid of. Those are the type of things that we're going to, ask our customers. And when I say our customers, I mean the racers, the partners, the racetracks, the community, and our fans, of course. Everybody's part of that. So it's important to get everybody's feedback to make things bigger and better for next year. I've always been a big proponent of, tell me 3 things that you don't want to change, and tell me 3 things that you would like to see changed. Really that way, then it really doesn't turn into a bitch session, so to speak, and you get some constructive input to move forward and make things better for everybody. And I think that's where we are right now. And truth be told, I even brought up, we might need to add maybe midget wrestling, and honestly got an amazing laugh out of the group, but I was I'm definitely serious because, we've all seen Monsters Inc. and the whole deal about the laughing, creating energy. I went to two micro wrestling shows, as they are termed. And I'll tell you what, I laughed so much, I guarantee you that I added 5 years to my life. So I want to try and work on giving that gift to everybody else.
Well, yeah. And that's not something that's out of the realm of possibility. I went to a Gary Railcats baseball game, and they put them out. They put that out there before the game. So that was something that was like an entertainment at a baseball game. Absolutely. They had midget wrestling out between the pitcher's mound and home plate, and they put it up so that people had something to watch before the game. That was kind of like part of the attraction. So
yeah, I mean, pint-sized people can put a lot of action out there. I'm just saying, man.
They can. They really do.
And it's all about being different, and at the end of an event, probably honestly, one of my favorite things to do is talk to talk to little kids in the staging lanes or walking around the facility and ask them, hey, what was your favorite thing? And they all pretty much clam up when you say that. And I say, but when your friends ask you what you did this weekend on Monday at school, what are you going to tell them? How are you going to describe this? And that's where you get some really good insight on what is an 8-year-old, what makes them excited to see. What's a 10-year-old think is cool? What's a 15-year-old think is entertaining? What's an 18-year-old want to do and bring his girlfriend or boyfriend to? Let's be honest, there's a ton of entertainment choices out there. And I had a really long talk with Steve Earwood at our event, and he's done amazing things. Don't get me wrong. He's a great person, a great Christian, but little things have changed since he was at Rockingham. And I think, I listened to a lot of what he had to say. I respect him immensely. He's done a fabulous job in his career, and he's left a mark on the sport in a positive way. And that's what we all need to do. At the end of the day, we're all stewards of the sport. We're all supposed to leave this thing better when we leave than it was when we got here. And, I think if you fast forward to the, 2025, 2030, it's going to be about, packing as much entertainment into an event as you can. And I think that's going to be part of the success story for groups that can do that. Just not so micro focused, but offer it all. We're asking fans to be at the racetrack for an awful long time, and especially to be in the stands that long. So if you can keep somebody entertained, that clock doesn't seem like it's ticking as loud. You know what I mean? That's kind of really where my head is. That's where our leadership team where we're headed is really to work to make good decisions that that benefit everybody.
Yeah, I was thinking about what you said earlier, and we kind of talked about that and have been talking about that, how the IHRA has this blank canvas and they have the ability to kind of reshape what a national event really is and how it's presented. Entertainment, I think, like you said, is the issue because younger kids, let's face it, we're in the 30-second reel, lifestyle here, and tension spans because of that aren't as long, but it also helps to have that kind of entertainment because, younger kids, they don't want to be out there for an extended amount of time. And at a certain point, they're like, I'm ready to go because they're bored. So having that extra entertainment is really going to be a game changer for families and families with young children. Looking forward to 2026, what are some of the things you guys are looking at to bring new and change with the IHRA in the series?
You mean besides midget wrestling?
Besides midget wrestling.
Really, there's a lot of things that we're talking about right now. We're looking at the racers that have supported us. We're looking at the classes that have supported us. We are, without a doubt, as a series, going to run 8th mile, period. Doesn't matter what class you are, we're running 8th mile in 2026 for everybody. There's two things that really speared that. Number one is safety. And number two is cost containment. A lot of the nitro teams, we've got friends, we all talk just like you guys. You get a little, it's 8th mile. Well, when you talk to everybody after they've done it, that was a little apprehensive and didn't really think it was really going to be as exciting, they get it now. You know, they get it. They understand that this is not hurting their pocketbook as hard as running 1,000 feet is, or a quarter mile. The breakage isn't there. The fatigue on the parts isn't there. And the cars they're right there. You know, the finish line is closer to the stands, which means that it's closer to the fans, which means that the fans have more engagement because it's closer. They can determine as they're watching who won or lost to them before they look up at the light.
Yeah.
You know, and for the group of people that think that that's a bad idea, you know, drag racing's a big math equation. You just got to go to work and figure it out.
Yeah. I like that. And I like the fact that you guys were willing to run 1,000 feet and 8th mile. I'm pretty sure that was strategic to kind of get a feel on both. I know a couple of our fans here, Drag Race Mayhem being one of them, has always talked about 8th mile. And I tell you what, from my perspective, it reminds me of a lot of what I do with the Southeast Gases Association. It takes the ET out of the mind because I think we're really obsessed with ET and speed a lot. And it takes it back to who's getting to the finish line first. I also think that it evens the playing field for those who are trying to get their program up to, let's say, a Del Worsham type consistency. Now it keeps a guy like Del honest because it's not about, you know, running that big number to the 1,000 foot. He's got to make sure that car's going to get from starting line to 8th mile, or the guy in the other lane that's don't really have that back half power can take it over. I think that is the smartest move that you guys can make. It's going to help these guys not only save money, and it likely will draw even more, especially nitro racers, out to come out and play and be a part of this thing, because that is a big difference in spending money when it comes down to parts. Will the qualifying sessions continue to be 2?
Yep.
I love it.
Yep.
Love it.
Get your shit together out of the trailer from the beginning.
Well, go home.
I mean, come on. It's how many runs do you really need in reality? You need more in each lane.
Yep.
You know? And every time you go to the starting line, it's different. The weather's different. The surface is different. The air, I mean, it's different. So really, you know, at the end of the day, this is competitive problem solving. It doesn't matter what class. So if you can't figure that out by making a run in the right lane once and the left lane in the other, you know, you're gonna have to get good at it. And that's part of what is gonna be the appeal of what we're doing. Is it puts a lot of emphasis on the driver. It puts a lot of emphasis on the teams, making sure that they've got everything correct. They've got everything as prepared as it can be to go down the racetrack and try and get that win. And the left foot's what it's going to be. That's going to be a big player, you know.
Indeed.
And that's what the fans want to see.
Oh yeah.
Nobody wants to see one car out of 2 side-by-side cars, one car not go down, you know. They want to see them both go down. They want to see it to be so close that they can't tell who won from the stands, that they've got to look up to the scoreboard.
Yeah.
No,
that's fantastic.
That is a great little bit of breaking news there that the whole series in all categories will just stay 8th mile. And believe me, I was one of the man, why do they shut off at half track group until you go see one, and then it makes a fan out of you because you're like, you know what? Yeah, there's a little bit of adjustment to numbers, but in most cases they don't matter. Like Dugenet mentioned, you're out there watching the competition and getting to the finish line first. And a lot of times, what's exciting for me in this particular series is the personalities, the drivers that come out, the people that are out here running. When you see the qualifying sheet and the eliminations ladder, and you know that one of those names on the list is going to be winning the race at the end of the day, as opposed to some of the other organizations where they're not really as diverse and most of the big teams are pretty much the ones that dominate it. That makes it more exciting and interesting too. And it just becomes a matter of, which one's going to turn on the win light. You don't care what they run, as long as it's a close competitive race. So I think that's amazing. And like you had mentioned, such parts attrition savings and cost savings for the nitro teams to be able to do that. And hopefully it brings even more out of the woodwork. And then we, of course, always got to turn our attention to the scoreboards, because that's going to make Friday even more important. One shot in each lane. And when you've got way more cars than you've got spots, you can't, it brings in a new element, because you can't swing for the fences, because you can't risk having the thing go up in smoke and potentially not making the show. But you still got to be out there and be quick enough to beat at least 6 or 7 of the other guys. So I think you guys are spot on, keeping the 2 qualifying sessions, making it sudden death set qualifying on that Friday night session. There is nothing that I've heard today that is a negative towards the series, for sure.
Well, I mean, also you look at the consumables. We talk about the parts attrition going down for it being 8th mile. I mean, things like, the fuel cost goes down. We've shortened the events. We thought, we really wanted to have before I came on board. The goal was, let's get as many races as we can. Let's give the racers options to race as much as they can. And at the end of the day, expecting somebody to be there on a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, that's tough. That's really tough, Yeah. So, let's figure out how to do this in a couple days and do it in a big way. We were talking today specifically. We've got some exciting news. A lot of exciting news actually. That's going to be coming on between now and PRI and then some. But we're going to, most of our all the tracks that we own, we're going to add tractor pull tracks to it. So
I like that.
I do too. I really do, because there's a lot of similarities and a lot of the same manufacturers as well, as far as the parts and some of the engines, some of the power plants. But really what that does is, that forces somebody that wants to see a tractor pull race to experience a drag race, and vice versa.
Mm-hmm.
And you're giving somebody an experience that they might not have had, or they might not have decided to go to. So if they're already at your event and you're giving them something additional, people, in my opinion, and our opinion as a group, is that's a value added, so they feel like that ticket price, man, I'm getting to see 2 things, not just one type of racing, 2 types of racing. So I'm not saying that they discount that ticket mentally and say 50% of it's drag racing and 50% of it's tractor pull in that example. But I think everybody wants, we're all multitasking. So we need, we all know that we only have so much free time to spend and try and balance life with our family and friends and work and everything else. If you can pack a lot of excitement into a short period of time, you're going to win every day.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Question from the audience there, from Mac1320. She says, do you think there should be drama between the NHRA and IHRA? I think it's pretty much a joke that, and it's only one-sided here, and I figured it would be with them. But I think that they have to learn to coexist, because they have to look at the bigger picture. I mean, I kind of use the AEW and WWE analogy. Everybody can't be at the big show, but those guys still want to wrestle, and they still need a place to wrestle. and it's all right to have an alternative. And I think IHRA is an alternative for those who can't necessarily do the big show. What do you think about that?
Well, I can tell you a couple things. When I came on board, one of the first calls I made was to my longtime friend Glenn Cromwell.
Yeah.
And I said, "Hey, Glenn, how's it going? What's going on?" I mean, I've dealt with Glenn for years,
Right.
back way before he was a division director even.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, "Hey, I've accepted this position for a leadership role at IHRA." And he said, "Man, that's great to hear." And he said, "A lot of people try and get me to say bad things about what's going on over there, but how can you say anything bad about somebody that's investing in the sport that we love and care about?"
Agreed.
And they can coexist, and they will coexist.
Mm-hmm.
It's not the Hatfields and McCoys. At the end of the day, I'm not going to say that we're AAA and they're pros, because we're all pros and we're
Right.
all together.
Right.
But I will tell you that racing an 8th mile in any car, I don't care which class it is, whether it has 2 wheels, 4 wheels, 8 wheels, don't give a shit. That hones your skills.
Mm-hmm.
So that when you get the right funding, and when you get the right opportunity, and when you put the right people together, that maybe you could run at the NHRA for a 20 race series, but you can't run before you walk.
Right.
I mean, you have to hone skills. These cars are no joke. I mean, you saw what happened with Dave Davies.
Yeah.
I mean, that should be a reminder to everybody that, first off, anybody that complains about too many people on the starting line, that's a great example.
Yep.
There's a reason. It isn't because the sanctioning body doesn't want everybody to experience that and see everything up as close as they can. At the end of the day, the first thing for a sanctioning body, the most important thing is safety. Period. That's what we do. And second is providing timing that you can rely on. That's our football field. I mean, you can't. I've heard things recently of adding cameras to sensors and this and that, and I mean, in these conversations, I love the collaboration. I love hearing everything. I love hearing new ideas. But, you can't mess with safety, and you can't mess with the timing system. Those are our two biggest constants that's the foundation that this sport was built on.
Right.
Yeah, 100%. I agree with that. And I know this question is just personally because I love the category, and I know you come from a pro stock background, and I'm just curious your thoughts on Mountain Motor Pro Stock. I mean, it is the longest tenured class with IHRA. Next year, they're going to cross the 400th national event plateau with the sanctioning body. I just am curious your thoughts and the IHRA officials' thoughts of everybody kind of coming together and the show that they put on at the last race. I mean, they said, hey, we're going to come support this deal, and 24 plus cars come out there and show up for this field. You had the 2025 PDRA champ, the 2025 NHRA champ, the 2025 Factory X champ in the field. I mean, it was the who's who of pro stock, and they all came and they put on an epic show. And how about the job by Chris Powers to come out there? Now he's running up against everybody, and he still goes to his 5th final, 3 hole shot wins, 1 on a red light, and puts together a win to close out probably just a dream season with the IHRA. That category going into 2026 looks like the strongest field. And are you guys kind of like just as excited about that as the fans and everybody else? Because that seems to be one of the backbone staple classes that we have going on in the IHRA right now.
Well, we said from the very beginning that there's 2 staple classes here: Mountain Motor Pro Stock and Pro Mod. period. Those are our, those are the classes that when you think of IHRA, that's what you think of. And I really don't see that going away. That's really our main focus. We know nitro is important. We know whether it's 2 wheels, 4 wheels, it's amazing competition. It's an amazing sensory experience more than anything. But, the performance of Mountain Motor Pro Stock, for example, is pretty awesome. Really, if you think about it, they've really stuck to this same engine platform for the most part. And you see really, probably some of the advancements aren't made around the engine, so to speak, much anymore. I think more of the focus is on suspension and fuel systems. That's nobody's spending big money on R&D like you used to in NHRA Pro Stock like that. So I don't know. I love the class. I love the sound. I like the hood scoops. To me, seeing the hood scoops come off of an NHRA Pro Stock car, selfishly, was probably one of the best logo positions on those cars. You know what I mean? That front three quarter view on a door car is where all the magic happens.
Yeah.
And to see that big hood scoop there in the background with a big logo on it, that sticks out just as much. And that girthy sound of a Mountain Motor Pro Stock car is pretty cool.
It is.
It really is.
It really is. Well, Scott,
and hope that they still have 16 car fields next year. It'll stay expanded, and that way they keep showing up and showing out, because they say they keep coming. They're still building more. So it feels like that is one of the staple classes for the IHRA, and I'm glad that they are there to support them, because just me personally, it's one of my favorites. So thank you for definitely keeping that one going.
Well, it's definitely one of mine personally. And I'm honestly, you guys, we talked about the 8th mile thing. I've dealt with quarter mile for 30 years, and it's like, the math to me is just, in the names of the classes, I'm just so trained from the inside. You know what I mean? And it's nothing wrong with that, but we're here to do some exciting things. We're not here to create issues. We're here to create entertainment.
Love it, man. And look, thank you for the time. Thank you for coming on and being so candid with us. You always are. And I can't wait to get you back on after all these announcements are made. I'm really looking forward to 2026. Yeah. And it seems like a lot of people in the comments, racers, fans alike, are also looking forward to 2026 as well. And they had a blast in 2025.
Well, really want to thank everybody for their support. As we all know, there were plenty of people that were a lot of naysayers, doomsayers, however you want to say it. So it's awesome to prove those people wrong, and we're going to prove the rest of them wrong next year. I promise you that.
Indeed. Scott,
can't wait.
Thank you so much, and we can't wait.
Thank you.
Awesome. Have a great night. Thanks for having me.
You too. Man.
How about that breaking news? We're going 8th mile next year.
Yes, sir.
We were talking about it. I know Scott Palmer was talking about it after the deal. He's like, man, after these last 2 races, we kind of learned a little bit. We kind of learned, hey, this ain't a bad deal to do. And kudos for the IHRA to sit down and band together and go, you know what? And there's so many more things outside of that you think of. Even if you do have incidents or delays, you only got to clean up half the track. You only got to prep half the track. It's not going to take nearly as long. You should be able to speed up the show. You can, there's so many positives behind it. And like you said, the action all happens in front of the fans. And man, that's a really cool announcement. Looking forward to next year. And that was just like you were asking to begin with. And Lee had always mentioned, here's your chance to do something to separate yourself from NHRA. Well, you know what? There's your separation right there.
Yep, there it is. And I think that's the right way to go. They literally are thinking outside of the box. And I'm glad of that. We had my man Buddy Hall in the comments, and the guy who created this thing, Bobby Bennett, was in the comments as well. By the way, Bobby, Dell was talking about you on the Not Bland show. You should go check that out after you get off here. He had some really cool stuff that he brought up that he had asked you to do a poll back in the day. Very cool piece of history there, knowing that you're involved in a lot of history there, Bobby. But let's get this thing moving, and we'll have a conversation after the fact. We're going to have on the Fuel Altered winner, Paul Miller. But before we do that, being that this show has reached a peak of just all kinds of fun information, we're going to go to one of the best coolants in motors and motorsports, Peak.
If you want to take your vehicle's performance to new heights, you got to give it P. Like our original equipment technology, antifreeze, and coolant. Our formulas match the vehicle manufacturer's technology requirements so that we have the perfect match for every vehicle. That's one reason why Peak is among the fastest growing brands of coolant in America. We work harder to earn the trust of people like you every day.
Paul Miller, how's it going, buddy?
Good. How are you?
Doing great. You had a great weekend. Tough competition. First of all, I want to ask you, how does it feel to have Fuel Altered on a national event stage?
Oh man, it's literally a dream come true. When we started talking to IHRA, as soon as they announced the thing, I was on the emails trying to get a hold of people saying, hey, we have another option for Nitro. And it took a while, all the way to 42, but we got it done and got them to let a small group of us come and put a show on, and repeated it again down here in Galat. And conversations we've had on Sunday on the way home, and today is we're going to be back for next year. So it's a pinch me moment, as I said before, and it's just unbelievable that we're getting to do this on this type of stage.
That sounds awesome, though, that if you're going to go next year, is this going to be like a full national event schedule or just a partial one? Because I know it's got to be hard for some of you guys, some of these teams, to be able to travel all the way around to do a 10-race series, but then again, maybe not.
Yeah, we've talked about that. We're not 100% sure if we're going to be at all events, some of the events, what it's going to look like. But I know we are going to be racing with the IHRA in the same format. We talked about potential of doing a points championship. Not sure if they're going to do that in multiple classes, but there's a lot. I think, as Woody said, there's a lot going on behind the scenes that I don't think we all know of yet, and it's something we're all looking forward to finding out what's going to go on so we can plan. It was tough putting together enough cars for these two races. I'm not going to lie. Myself, Pete Dove, and everybody else involved, all the teams on board to really make sure we had enough cars to put on a show for the fans. It was a lot of work, kind of scrambling last minute.
Yeah, I think that was a lot of people this year, and I think the fans, really appreciate the sacrifices made because what you guys were able to put together with the cars that did come out was a tremendous show, and it's so fitting for me anyway. It's so fitting for Fuel Altered to be there because their combination of the two, new fans don't really know what to call it. Is it a funny car? Is it a dragster? What is it? And it runs on nitro and shoots flames. Hey, and to me, you guys are kind of like the nostalgia, and really, I hate to say this, guys, but better than nostalgia, because the show that they put on is just unlike any other, and really, I think will be a staple and a really showpiece within the IHRA and its show.
Well, I think we fit that little micro wrestling group. I mean, we're the sideshow, we're the freaks, right? I mean, it's something different that people haven't seen realistically since the 70s, unless they go out to some of the races in California or some of the chaos stuff that's been going on the last couple of years, which are all great options. But this is something that's a little bigger format, a little different, very minimum rules, and go out there and run against some really stiff competition and some just amazing cars. I mean, a lot of these cars in this group are fairly new. I mean, including my own. I mean, this car was a replacement car from when we wrecked, and I mean that was our 12th run on the car, winning that race.
That is awesome, and that has to be just an amazing feeling to come out there and win the deal. I see you put down on the sheet of paper, the driver info sheet of paper, one of your greatest achievements was bringing the fuel alters to the IHRA. What's a little bit of a backstory? How long has that been in progress? How hard of a sell was that to be able to get you guys to get out to the track there at West Salem and have that first event, especially with how quickly the season kind of just fell together anyway for the series in general?
Yeah, so my son and I were out at the March meet when the big announcement came out about the IHRA, and there was a couple of emails that floated around on Facebook. And I have a pretty extensive business development background in the construction industry, and I've never been afraid to go into a boardroom and just ask somebody how do we get something done. So I started launching emails and reaching out to folks, and there's some other folks I found out were doing the same thing, and we all just kind of, I guess maybe the best word is pestered them a little bit, and showed them what we can do. And there was some back and forth, some conversations, and they finally said, hey, we're gonna showcase this at 42, and then if that goes well, we'll do Galot, and then then we'll start talking about next year. And getting ready for the finals, Daryl was floating around the staging lanes, and so is Darcy, and just telling us, we have a home with the IHRA, and that's just something that is remarkable for all of us. It's still almost unbelievable to hear the words coming out of my mouth.
And you said, talking about your car, I mean, you guys had that thing on a rail all day, living in the 370s, had that 377 early. Then you had the I think it was a 375, and then you got it even lower in the final at a 372.5. I mean, it was just living in the 370s.
Yeah, I mean, we came out Q1 and went 372. Q2, we tried to put about 5% blower back in it, tried to spice it up a little bit. Went out there and knocked the tires off, and then we did battle a little tire shake throughout the weekend. I'm still trying to figure out why, but it's it worked, and then it was consistent, and I was consistent. I need to have a lot of work to do on the tree, but we're not out there a lot doing this stuff, and I'm still relatively new to driving one of these things. I think we figured out that was my 80th pass in a nitro car since I started either driving these or front motor dragsters.
Well, you made that look easy.
Yeah, that run in the finals, I got out there and I had that thing cut completely to the left, and I put my hand on the brake, and it kept driving towards the center line, and I pedaled it, and it somehow stayed and went straight again. And I literally started laughing hysterically when I saw the wind light come on. And I told Pete, it was kind of one of those bittersweet moments. Like he is become such a great friend, mentor, just an all around, just phenomenal human. And it was fitting for him and I to be in the final together, but it was also bittersweet because I could have picked anybody else to race in the final, but but it's what happened, and darn it, I'm lucky right now.
Yeah, but you know what? That just goes to show when it's a drag race, it's a drag race, and two cars go up to the starting line. You never know who's going to win. Yeah, if you start looking at performances and what happened, and you were a little bit off your career best of a 368 back at Dragway 42, but still stepping it up to a 72 in the final. Everybody watching goes, okay, Pete Dove goes out there and goes 355, and he's got 0.2 of a second on you going to the final round. This one ought to be cinched, right? Wrong. Yeah. And that's the unpredictability of this class. I mean, 2 races, 2 different winners, and both you and Ryan got the dubious honor of showing Pete Dove the way to the finish line in the final.
Yeah, I went over and told Pete, and Jake Sanders was there helping him. I said, our car's going to run 330 at some point during the run. I said I said we joke with with Pete a little bit sometimes of bringing a knife to a gunfight. I mean, he has such a awesome machine. I mean, that car will go 330s. I know it will. It's such a remarkable piece that he has put together. I give him all the credit in the world for what he's doing with that car. and it's going to be a force to be reckoned with for sure. And it's going to make all of us step our game up a little bit, which is, it's fun.
How did you get involved in driving and being involved in driving a fuel altered?
So I grew up around, my father campaigned a front motor top fuel car here. I'm out of Ohio, and we were match race guys, and we did a lot of stuff. I mean, we did a couple good guys events back in the late 90s and had a little fun doing that. And, I always wanted to fuel altered, and it was kind of like the Christmas story. Everybody always said, oh, they're the hardest things to drive. You'll shoot your eye out. And it kind of drove me to really want one. I followed Dad's footsteps. The first car I built was, the first nitro car I built was a front motor car we bought. It was a big block Chevy on nitro. It was campaigned out of the East Coast for a while, and I still had this passion for the altered. So when we sold the dragster, which is still being campaigned today by Larry Gosha, we had this chassis sitting there that was never ran. It was an alcohol funny car chassis. We built the first few altered, and I was the guy that wanted to run it with no wings, and we tried to run it with no wings and tried that, and wasn't very smart. Had some pretty hair-raising runs, but and unfortunately we crashed that car, and we had good safety stuff on it. We cut a tire, and we walked away from it, and we instantly, within a couple of days, we're back out looking for a chassis, and my friend John Dunn and his son Josh stepped up and helped me find a car, and really were instrumental in helping me get this thing back together. I mean, the body reruns their design, and they've been, I talked to John today, and today's actually his birthday, so happy birthday, John Dunn. I told him, I said, I know he runs a business, but he has really stepped up in helping a lot of low buck nitro racers like myself and a bunch of other teams to be able to be out here. And so can't say enough for his help in getting this car back together.
That's really awesome. And just out of curiosity, because you kind of mentioned, some of these guys have some pretty big potential to run some pretty low ETs, and it helps everybody else kind of want to step up their game a little bit. How much more can you do? What is the disparity between some of these combinations that can run 340s or potential to a 330s, and some of the guys that are kind of towards the 370s, 380s? Where's the disparity at there? What can you do to step them up?
Well, I mean, it's going to be a lot of things. I mean, we like the fact that there's not really many rules. We established some very basic rules of 125-inch wheelbase, minimum of 80% in the tank, and no clutch management. Other than that, it was just gloves are off and run what you have. And I mean, there's a lot of things that we know with blower size and fuel pumps. I mean, that's the other neat thing with the classes. We've had cars with blown small block Chevys to cars like myself. We run a 671 smaller, more nostalgia-based blower and a 35-gallon fuel pump. And there's room to step these cars up. And, we got to look at parts and cost per run and all that stuff and what it's going to take to do that. But, I think with some little tweaks in cars, more of my setup, and there's some other folks that run a similar setup that can get these cars in the 60s consistently. And there's some other guys that, have cars that probably are pretty capable of running 40s right now. And, it's how you want to race. Do you want to, try to swing for those bigger numbers, or kind of our approach of a little more consistency is what makes the class so neat. I mean, you have so many options. There's no cookie cutter 500-inch 1471 big, all valves and all that stuff. I mean, we don't even run a computer on our car. I jokingly say, my partner in the car, my crew chief, Russell Oliver, we call him the computer, because he's just old school and tunes with the spark plugs and looking at bearings and all of our wear. And that's the way we choose to run the car.
And the amazing part is it's ridiculously consistent, like Dujanet mentioned, even going that route. So there's something to be said for the old school way of doing things. The computers aren't always better. They can only help you so much.
Well, I mean, we made a decision early on. He said, we'll put a computer on the car once we can get it to run. And we can look at the data after that to see if, we have something going bad or something wrong. We can really start looking at, when our fuel pump's falling off, as far as wear in it. And really, let's learn how to make this thing run first. And, he is just absolutely amazes me from, you know, we live in this little small town in Northeast Ohio, and it's kind of its own little nitro hub. There's a front motor top fuel dragster my dad used to own he was a partner in it, called the Time Bandit. There's 2 top fuel Harleys, and we have our front motor top fuel car, and then this car, and it's I think there's 2,500 people here, so it's it's really kind of and well, I take it back. There's another gentleman, their car's parked, but there is technically another one sitting in a barn still with David Mullet, and it's just remarkable that we live in this little pocket of nowhere Amish community, and we have all these nitro cars.
Time to petition the town to change the chain from Nelson to Nitro, Ohio.
There you go. I like
it. I tell you, with the payouts and then everybody's going to be running to 8th mile, that has to really help a program like yourself and others. I've talked about it from the beginning, that it really gives you guys an opportunity because of the way the pay structure, it really does help you guys really start to build your program and get to where you want to go, because you do have the dollars there, and you're coming out, you're going to come away more up than you are in the red.
Correct. I mean, that it's been the purse that they put up has been phenomenal. And it's really helped afford us to be able to go out and do this. Most of us are paying for this out of our own pocket. I mean, we're fortunate to have a few sponsors. We build some car dealerships for a living. So Daystar Auto Group's been a great supporter of myself. I mean, they're a client, a customer, and a sponsor. So it's super nice to have them. From the other side of things, Bob Peck, who's a DSR in-house guy, his brother owns Enthusiast Hydrogen, and they've stepped up helping us. And it's kind of his brother and my brother were college roommates, so it's some first full circle connections that help us run these cars. But the purse, it helps a ton, and you wouldn't be able to get these turnouts. I mean, we had 10 cars trying to qualify for 8 spots without that money being there.
Well, and it just goes to show how tough it is too. My buddy Ryan, Taco Man Hill, comes out there and just Cinderella weekend at Dragway 42, comes out here and smokes the tires, and then has that part breakage and no oil pressure, and doesn't even qualify at the very next one. I mean, that just goes to show you how tough this deal is. It is not easy at any level.
Oh no, I mean it is tough. We were waiting in line to get paid, and which was a tremendous line. I think we waited over an hour and a half, and Dell was a couple folks ahead of me, and we were talking. My chassis is actually one of his former cars, and it was kind of neat to see, and talk about all the different combinations, and we were talking about that, how they didn't qualify and other folks did, and just how it's going to be a tough class. And moving forward, I've gotten phone calls since Sunday from folks from California all the way, to some guys down in Florida that asking questions about rules, asking questions about next year, that really want to come out and do this. I mean, it's an alternative to building a big show funny car, and it's more cost effective to run. And it's it's neat. I've heard a couple people say it's a little different because it's kind of like the dragster. You can see the driver. You can kind of see what we're doing as we're bringing the car into the lights. And, it gives the fan a different perspective, without that body over us of, oh my gosh, this motor one is sitting in your lap. You got a bomb between your legs. And, and watching us hit the gas and these 5, 6, 7, 8 foot, 10 foot, depending on some of these cars, header flames, and you're driving through a tunnel of fire. I mean, it's really difficult to describe and, tell people what it's like to drive one of these things. And it's something different. And as I mentioned before, they haven't seen it in a really, really long time unless they've really went and sought it out.
Right.
So it's, with what Chris Graves has done with the chaos stuff, and which, we're all going to continue to support. I mean, that's been an option. And then the West Coast nostalgia stuff has been an option, but this is, these are different than the, 6.0 Altereds. I mean, right. it's they're definitely a different animal.
Yeah, and man, it's been fun to see you guys out there. I am really looking forward to seeing you guys there, and hopefully it's the full season, whatever works for you guys. But I'm excited that you guys get to be on a big stage, national event, and get to put on a tremendous show. Paul, congratulations on your win, and thank you so much for coming on the Power Hour tonight.
Thanks for having us, and we look forward to supporting the IHRA next year, and also showcasing these cars at some other events out around the country.
For sure.
So congratulations again on your win too. You guys definitely are entertaining. We're up in the booth going, man, the night runs. These guys know that it's the 8th mile, right? The flames are still up almost to the scoreboards in a couple of instances. We're like,
oh yeah,
these guys are wanting to drive these things.
Oh yeah, I mean, I was guilty of running a little long, a couple runs there, and it's like, man, I think it was E1. I didn't have my chutes didn't come out. We had a little issue, and I told people, thank God for carbon brakes, because I got the car stopped, came around the corner, everything was good, but it was just the IHRA, and I'll say this, there was no second guessing. I mean, the safety on these cars is as safe as darn near any of them, and and it shows. I mean, you need to have it. I mean, I'll say firsthand, like I said, wrecking one of these things and kind of flipping around in the air and walking away with a couple bruises and bumps, and more my pride hurt than anything. It shows. Don't skimp on it, everyone. Make sure you got all that that DSP head padding and proper belts and all that fun stuff. It'll save your life.
For sure. And you guys put some of those runs show that you put on a show from the starting line to the sand trap, because those things are you never want to take your eyes off of them. So
they can definitely get your attention pretty quickly. I mean, the one I guess comment I got from one fan is, when are they going to do fuel altered things? I said, what do you mean? He's like, nobody's changed any lanes yet. And I was, well, I mean, and Dan Petnato did down in at 42.
He did, yeah.
And he did a pretty good job of saving it and whatnot. And I told him it's going to happen with these cars. It's not if, it's when. And I mean, we've had just some stellar track conditions that most of us never really got to run these cars on. And I think that's also why you've seen some of these ETs. I mean, before this, our best was like a 392. Before we went up to 68. So I mean, able to really step up and throw some stuff at it. It shows what the IHRA is doing with track prep and give us a stellar surface to race on.
That's awesome. We're looking for some big things next year. Can't wait to see you out there.
Yep. Guys, thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you.
Thank you, brother.
See ya.
Paul Miller, everybody. Pretty cool stuff. I really enjoyed the few alters. And what I'm seeing here in the comments, Dave, is you look at Jamie Van Cleef, and he talked about how the IHRA taking care of them, the hospitality. It said it's the best he's experienced in the 31 years of drag racing. And me and Lee talked so much about what some of the things that they could hit on. I think Scott nailed it, and they nailed it with the 8th mile deal, and bringing other entertainment. That's 2. And the third most important thing is exactly what you saw there in the comments, is taking care of the racer and the treatment, the hospitality. And I think that's where, in those areas, is where the IHRA can win. And I really think that there's a really big probability that you're going to see a lot of top alcohol dragsters and funny cars showing up to these events. Their thing has always been about treatment. I like the way they go about their business, and as far as how the show is run, of course, they're probably going to make some adjustments for next year. But in those 3 areas, that's where you can win. And that's where you can change the game. And I like the fact that they're thinking outside of the box and not just, a rinse and repeat of what we're already seeing.
Right. And I think that the racers in general it doesn't take much, really.
Right.
You want to have a nice pit parking space. You want to have nice paved pit roads and staging lanes and return roads, which every track we've been to this year has had some fresh asphalt laid over all that. So everything has been smooth, nice, clean. There are some tracks that, yes, you still have a lot of dirt and grass parking, but I believe that a lot of that will be changed in the upcoming years. I mean, again, this stuff's all got thrown together so quickly.
Yeah.
We've only got so much time to prepare. But nice, clean facilities, nice space to park, well lit, friendly people. They provide food. And when it comes to the actual competition side of things, you just want a fair shake at it. You want equal opportunity. You don't want to get bumped if you are scheduled to run at X, if you're scheduled to run at 1:00, you want to run as close to 1:00 as possible, and there are obviously unforeseen circumstances, weather, oil downs, things that happen. But how many times have we seen in NHRA, and it's not a bad thing, I understand where they're coming from, they've got to keep on their professional series schedule, whether it's for live TV or for basically the fan entertainment, because it used to be, and I remember it wasn't that long ago, I used to love on Friday, I would watch the results during the day and pray for oil downs, because if it got enough delays, that meant that by the time I got out of work, I got to see both sessions instead of just one. Whereas now, as well as I do, if there's an oil down, a delay, all right, send the alcohol cards back, send it. Top Fuel is running at 1 and 3 no matter what. Hell or high water, those guys are running, and the rest of the cars don't matter. And we haven't seen that happen yet in IHRA, where they've sent classes back, or they've said, well, we're behind, and we're going to have to shuffle you. No, if they print a run order, they stick to it. And hey, I'm running after these guys. This is the run order. We're going to do track prep. These guys are going to be up. We're going to run this. And they've managed it very well, especially with 16-car Pro Stock fields, 16-car Pro Nitrous field, and 32-car Pro Mod fields. You have to be able to schedule those extra rounds in there on Saturday and give those guys time to turn around and come back for the next round. And it's a good thing to have those extra rounds, because it gives the nitro teams the time that they need between first round, semis, and finals. So the layout works well. I think that they've really hit on a lot of that stuff. And as a racer, those are the things that you like. You like respect. And I guess most of all, at least on our side of things, with the TV coverage and the stream that we do, you don't get just static cams, or we're not offline when your class is running. Every class, from the first one to the last one, gets treated equally. Everybody that we can stop and grab gets an interview, especially in the sportsman classes, the winners interviews, getting your trophy at the top end. Like Dell mentioned on your show, they want to capture that genuine excitement right when you get out of the car. We don't want to cut to you later. We don't want you to be doing, we trying to get that genuine raw emotion and human element back into the sport. So everybody gets treated equally. Everybody gets equal opportunity airtime. We don't cut half the field and say, well, you know what? Yeah, here's highlights of Pro Stock. We're only going to show the 4 quickest cars and forget the other 20 that came. Everybody gets a fair, equal opportunity. And I think that that's some of the things that they do right. And I understand that maybe some of the other sanctioning bodies can't do that because of certain contractual obligations or limitations, but that is something else that IHRA provides as an alternative, like you're saying. And, look forward to more of the same next year.
Yeah, me too. Really, really good product, and I like that things are different. Let's run through some of these winners here. We had Kyle Statenstein get the win in Top Fuel. That was really cool to see him get that done. I love that car. It is fantastic.
How about that 019 light in the final?
Dude.
We got our own Justin Ashley right over here, don't we? 019. And the best part was it was at night. You could see the flames come up before Lexus.
Yes.
Like, that was a visual representation of a hole shot right there.
That was the best
And that was some of the most excited people you would ever see at the racetrack. And I mean, from top to bottom, I mean, those guys have been out there racing since the 1950s, the Leverage family, and they've been out here doing this. Kyle was out here doing this. The first round of eliminations, as he had mentioned even in his interviews, first round that they've won. And the fact that he's like, I'd have been satisfied with that. So to go all the way and end up winning the deal, I mean, that was just epic for them. And I mean, a 50 grand payday is life-changing for that team. That means better parts, better equipment, and better preparation going into next year.
Yeah, most definitely. We had Del Worsham on his third event here in the IHRA. We had him on the Not Bland show earlier at 7 p.m. Eastern. That airs on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Eastern. You can go back and check that out at the Not Bland show on the YouTube channel. But yeah, he came on. He's got that win, 3 of those bad boys. And man, he's got a little bit of fire back, man. He's wanting to drive now. He's like, I wasn't even interested earlier in the season. This IHRA thing has got him chomping at the bit again, wanting to go out there and compete and cut lights and knock people down.
Oh, 100%. And that's great to see. And I've got more to elaborate on that after we get through this winners list, since you mentioned that about Dell. But, man, 5 finals. First time anybody's been to 5 finals in a row in a Nitro Funny Car in IHRA since Mark Oswald back in 1987. So, and he's got a little way to go to catch the record. Oswald went to 7 in a row back in 86. So
yeah,
we'll see what he can do next year. He's pretty well committed to coming out. But if we had a championship series this year, no doubt that would be your Nitro Funny Car champ.
Yeah, most definitely. That car was very, very consistent. You had let's see, Chris Powers at Mountain Motor Pro Stock.
Good Lord. What can you say about Chris Powers? This man, another one. If we had a full point series, hands down would be the champion. This man this year won a national event in the PDRA, the NHRA, and the IHRA. The only driver to ever do that. Competed against the NHRA Pro Stock champ, the PDRA Pro Stock champ, 22 others in addition to those 2, and won 3 rounds with his left foot. Well, technically 4, because the other one was, even on a red light. He said, I'm so hyper focused on that. As soon as I see the glow of yellow, I'm leaving. He left on the other guy's red light and would have cut a 040 light based on the difference between the 2 reaction times. Obviously he was red too, but just goes out there, and even when they don't have the best car, still just finds that little bit extra and gets out there and gets the win. And I mean, isn't that a beautiful race car? Comes up there with the headlights on every time, made it to 5 finals, won 3 races. I mean, that guy is the face of IHRA Pro Stock right now, and everybody's going to be gunning for him next year because he is tough to beat.
Indeed. Patrick, Pro Stock was just, it was just something to watch, man. Every round was just incredible. Randy Weatherford in Outlaw Pro Mod. What do you say about that? I mean, Outlaw Pro Mod was just amazing.
Oh, it was. We dropped the record down to a 351 in eliminations. Insane. And Randy Weatherford, so this car coming in only had, I believe the team said 5 or 6 runs on it. Brand new build. Decided to bring it out there. They were still working the bugs out of it, which is why their regular Pro Mod car was running better than this particular one was in elapsed time, because they had the combination figured out with that one. They were working on this deal, and he comes out there, and I'll tell you what, I loved his interview down at the top end, talking about just going around and taking care of Frankie in the finals. And he lived up to what he said. Won the 125K Pro Mod Invitational Nationals earlier this year, and then backs it up with a national event win in Outlaw Pro Mod. I mean, what else could you say about that guy? And look at everybody on that crew who, and don't forget, he played double duty because he ran Pro Mod and Outlaw Pro Mod. Yep. And those classes ran pretty close to each other, so that team worked extra hard turning both of those cars around and being able to get through this field.
Yeah, absolutely just impressive. with what was going on there with that class. Loved it. Loved every bit of it. Cam Clark and Pro Nitrous. Is Pro Nitrous going to be around next year? I think they're going to keep all the Pro Mod classes from what I gathered from Scott.
That's what I gathered too. I haven't heard anything official. I've seen a lot of questions in the comments if they are or they aren't. This was the biggest Pro Nitrous field that we had this year. And how about Cam Clark, man? The guy comes out, struggles in qualifying. He's 14th on the sheet, dead last, and comes out there and just improves every round and ends up picking up the Ironman at the end of the day. Yeah. I mean, just an awesome performance from that team. And it was amazing just to see, because you're like, well, when you look at qualifying, it's hard to really pick a favorite. And anytime you're talking about Pro Nitrous, Ricky Smith's going to be your favorite, right?
Exactly.
You're going to be like, all right, we got Ricky Smith in the field. It's going to be Ricky Smith versus the world right now. And Cam Clark basically, based on being that number 14 position, goes out there, takes out number one qualifier, Freddie Scriba, in the first round on a hole shot, which gives him the competition bye, as we talk about all the time with the NHRA top fuel fields and motorcycle fields. When you have a 14-car field, round 2 is the bye, so you want to be 1 or 14. Well, he was 14. He got the bye, makes it to the semis up against Billy Albert, who has to shut off, gets another bye run to the finals, and just absolutely lays it down up against Dane Wood and picks up the win.
Yeah, I mean, how about Dane Wood? That was a whole shot win over Ricky Smith. 008 on the tree to Ricky Smith 085. Both ran. Ricky Smith throws away a 3.668, and Wood runs a 3.686. Takes the dub on a whole shot. That was incredible.
And that's what these classes are. They're all about, like Scott said, your left foot. So many whole shot wins.
That's why 8th Mile to me is incredible. And I saw a couple of people in the comments talking about the sportsman classes as well. I think what adds and makes them, I'll agree with you guys. I normally don't watch sportsmen in NHRA when it's on. It's on in the background and I'm likely going off to do something else. I actually watch sportsmen starting on Wednesday or Thursday, whenever they start, and I watch all of it. It's the camera angles. It's actually the fact that it's almost like they care. They actually care about what's going on the track, and because of that, it makes it more watchable. You got the commentating, but I think it's definitely the cameras and the live cameras, not static cams, that make it worth watching. And I pay attention to a lot of the Pro-Am and the sportsman guys. It's been fun to watch. It's been a fun product. And I can't say that I do that for NHRA at all. We had Ethan, I think the Stedding in Pro-Mod.
Yes.
Win.
And in his debut national event,
insane.
Driving Kurt's car. Now this they were a little bit of history. They are the first father and son duo to win a national event in Pro Mod in the same season, because his dad won Milan. Ethan comes out here and he picks up the win here in Dunn, North Carolina. And to my knowledge, they are only the second father and son IHRA Pro Mod winners, other than Scott and Scotty Cannon.
Wow. That's pretty good. And another car that every single round they lowered the ET.
Yes.
I mean, he runs a 356 with an 8.
And it ties the national, which 356 with an 8 was number one qualifier. Ed Mark set the national record, low ET for the category. Ethan matched it in the finals, but I mean, Ed gets it because he did it first. So Ethan just kind of ties him with it, but Ed ends up walking away with the record in low ET, but that car got quicker and quicker and quicker. And it's going to be, really interesting to see how that plays out next year for these guys. And it was funny. Ken was saying same thing in the booth. He's like, Dad, you ain't getting the car back. I think I'm going to keep this one.
Randy Peary and Top Fuel Harley, which was very entertaining. Very
Ryan
entertaining.
Fury, yes.
I've got him out.
Back-to-back wins for Ryan. He won last time out
Right.
at Dragway 42 for his first win. Picks up win number 2 just at the next race. Yeah, why not, right? You already won one, and you see how easy it is to do. Might as well do it again. But the amazing thing with those guys are the absolute assault on the ETs.
Yeah.
And getting quicker and quicker and quicker, just kind of like we talked about the other categories.
Mm-hmm.
In Top Fuel Harley, I mean, those guys traded it back and forth. I couldn't tell you how many times I was updating the record in the stat sheet there for them guys. And we were fortunate enough to have Mike Beelan come up in the booth and commentate on these guys when they were up there. He unfortunately didn't make the show, but he offered some awesome insight and mentioned a lot of these guys just raced at Rockingham the week prior.
Yeah.
And even though it was a quarter-mile race, most of them spent their time working on their 8th mile tune-up, knowing that they were coming here and they were going to have to really, really step up their game to win. And when you consider that, I believe it was a 4:17 or 19 was low ET at Dragway 42, and Ryan in the final round set the record at a 4:08 with an 8 and crazy. 207 miles an hour. I mean, they were just awesome. Just awesome.
Yeah, they were cooking. Tom Fox Jr. and Top Alcohol Dragster. I expect to see more Top Alcohol Dragsters out here. I think the count is because of schedule. I think next year you're going to see a lot of interesting faces out here, and you're going to see a lot of faces that that normally race in the NHRA. I believe they will be over here racing in the IHRA.
Oh, I think so too. And Tom Fox was another one that was just the picture of consistency as you watch them go through the ladder. I mean, all the way from qualifying number 1 with that 352. And he was another one, kind of like you were mentioning in the fuel altereds, living in the 50s or living in the 70s there. Tom Fox repeated his qualifying time. Just took the tree first round. He earned that bye run, so he didn't necessarily have to beat on the car, but repeated pretty much the qualifying time in round 2, taking out Jamie Noonan, and then going back in the final round, 356, just another solid pass. And how about Shane Conway making it to the finals and coming up with a red light? Both alcohol finals, unfortunately, decided on red lights, but both by drivers who knew that they really had to stand on it to go ahead and get the win, and really pushed it, and unfortunately just came up a little bit short. Yeah,
took a shot. Really didn't have that 356 type of tune-up to get it there. I think the best he had run at the time looks like it was a 364 was his low.
Right.
And so he had to take a shot at that. And, that's the name of the game, man. I love it, though. And it made for a great show. Last one here, Phil Ez in Top Alcohol Funny Car. What can you say about that guy? Loved the car, but he was just absolutely consistent all night.
He was. And I mean, same thing like we talk about with Del Worsham, like we talk about with Chris Powers. Phil Ez was in the final round of every event this year, all 5 of them. Milan was a bit of a letdown simply because there was Funny Car Chaos going on that weekend, or was supposed to till it got rained out. Only 2 cars showed up to that one, but a lot of them showed up in force here, had a nice full field, unfortunately sent 1 car home. And Phil Ez, man, I'll tell you what, they have got this thing down. There was a much easier win than the one last time at Dragway 42 when they had that pop in the first round, if you remember, and they were thrashing between rounds. No parts breakage here that I'm aware of, and just another solid effort and another solid win for that team. And again, up against Tony Bogolo in the finals, who was just out there killing the tree and going rounds, made it to another final. So 3 of the 5 finals were between those 2 this year. And Phil's got his number for sure. And I got to say, if he comes back next year and they run this deal a full season and award championship points, he's going to be the tough one to beat. And we're going to see who ends up in this field, because Phil kind of showed him how it was done this year.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he definitely did. And, I think it's going to draw some people out. I really do. Like I said, this is going to be. I'm looking forward to all the announcements that come up. This is the little bit that we've been told tonight is really refreshing. I know when Drag Race Mayhem heard 8th Mile throughout, boy, he probably took a run around his house 100 miles an hour and did some backflips. I ain't gonna lie, I'm right there with you, buddy, because I'm like, let's make this thing different. And I'm gonna tell you, the 8th Mile racing, I've always enjoyed it because I've had an opportunity to see it and because I love Pro Mod. But when you look at the Nitro classes, you look at all the pro stock, everything. The 8th Mile was absolutely fun, and I said it earlier this season when we first saw it. It just reminds me, even with the 1,000 foot, it reminded me of watching Southeast Gassers. There's no time. There's no time that goes up there. They show the times in the final rounds, but your eyes are more focused on these drivers and what they're doing in the car and who's getting to the finish line first. And that's what makes the action fun. The numbers are just, a little icing on the cake, so to speak. And I think this is going to be tremendous for everyone. It's a way to make sure everything and everyone and people are willing to show up because of the 8th Mile, the less strain and, attrition on parts. I'm loving the 2 qualifying sessions. That makes this series pressure packed from start to finish because the importance of getting that first run is important. And if you miss, there's a chance that you might not make it in that second run, and it's all or nothing. And I love it. 8-car field's perfect. I think you're going to have plenty to fill out the Pro Mod classes. I think you'll have plenty of Mountain Motor Pro stock. And shout out to Camry Caruso. Really great performance this weekend.
He was driving that thing.
He was driving the hell out of that thing.
I mean, I know my name on the hood was worth at least 200, so there was that. Right. She had that going for her, but she did all right too.
Yeah, man. I'm excited for her, and I'm really looking forward.
And they are full on committed.
Yeah, and that's great. That's great. I think this is going to be her niche. They, like I said, had the car rolling, but Mountain Motor Pro Stock, I enjoy Mountain Motor Pro Stock, and I really just got introduced to that when they had a couple exhibitions with the NHRA. But look, I think they're better than a 500 cubic inch. I'm sorry. I think they're a better show. I love the guys that are involved in it. John, DeFlorian is one of my favorites of the crew, but I love it. The hood scoops and all. That's going to be
brand diversity. Fun. It's not just all Camaros.
Yep. You don't have you got a couple Chevy Cobalts showing up too. I love it, man.
You got a Cavalier out there. Yep. You've got some Mustangs out there. But new and older model Mustangs. I mean, you got options. You got variety. And to answer Patrick's question, did the Petersons do that back in the 90s? No. Chuck Peterson did win the Dixie Nitrous Nationals in 1994 at Jackson, South Carolina. But Jason and Chad never won at the national event level. So unfortunately, no, don't get me wrong. Yes, that was a father and son team, but they were both, not all of them were national event winners. Just Chuck was able to get one on the win list within the IHRA. They might have done it at the Super Chevy level or at other sanctioning bodies that they happen to race with, just not in this particular organization.
Yeah, Mike, you're right. I do believe she's going to win next year. She had a real good shot this past weekend. That car was really rolling, and she was driving the heck out of it. But that class is tough. But I think she will fare well over there.
Yeah.
What a way to close it out for the IHRA, man. What a way to close it out.
I got to say, so to go back to the point that I had mentioned earlier when you were talking about Dell, I don't know. I'm sure you saw the post that I made on my Facebook with all the pictures. I basically snagged a bunch of old drag reviews. You can see piles of stuff I got back there, National Dragsters. That's it cleaned up. There's boxes of the stuff. brought him with me, made him to the flight, made him, fit in the suitcase for the flight out to North Carolina to put out there with and take pictures with these drivers that come back. These names that are from the past or that seem to come out of the woodwork. I mean, you had Annette Summer in Tommy Moody's original 1995 Pro Mod Championship winning car. You had Tommy Mooney himself out there driving. You've got Scotty Cannon still out there driving with his half-brother, Bubba Green. He's out there tuning the car. Ricky Smith came back. He's out there running the thing. I mean, you have so many people. Rhonda Hartman Smith's out there because her husband, John, gets in Paul Smith's funny car. They're out there running. Megan Smith's out there running. The Smith family are out there as a whole team out there. And you've got all these legends of the sport that are coming back. John Montecalvo's been to more than half of every IHRA Pro Stock race that's ever been run. He's competed in more than half of them. I mean, he's a legendary name in the class. Elijah Morton made a return, came out there. John Koningshofer got his start back in the early 90s. He's still out here racing. I mean, there are so many names from years gone by that are still out here doing it. It's not just showing up, and I missed it. Unfortunately, obviously once the action starts, I'm pretty much in the tower throughout until it's over with. But Roy Hill was on the grounds. 1995 Pro Stock champion Mike Bell was on the grounds walking around. There was a lot of people that came out to see this, and it's just amazing that these legends come out and are still out here doing it and appreciating it. And then on the entire flip side, there are so many national events this year that had first-time winners. Will Smith competing in Top Fuel, Top Alcohol Dragster, and Funny Car in Nitro Funny Car at this particular event. I mean, stars of the future. You had Rachel Kerr out there winning in a race in Dragway 42. You had Megan Lingner out there, trying to think of their married names, out there competing, trying to win an Ironman. You have all of these. Tony Bogolo mentioned him. He's another legacy racer, started back in the 80s. I mean, these guys that are out here, you have such a mixture of legends and then new drivers that are out here competing. It's all encompassing, and it's really cool to see all of that come together and be on the national event stage like that. And all I can hope is that, a lot of them come back next year and put on the same show. And man, I'm looking forward to this 10 race series. I can't wait for PRI or whatever it is that they make the announcement of where the events are going to be, because that's going to probably raise some eyes for some of them that have been potentially rumored that are out there, and some of them that are confirmed coming back. It's just, there's a lot of excitement around it that, the IHRA will have just as much excitement around it and its drivers and what it has going on as the NHRA will for their 75th anniversary season and celebrating their history and their past and everything that they've got going on too. So if you are a drag racing fan, I got to say that whichever sanctioning body you like, either whether it's one, the other, or both, 2026 is going to be your year.
Yeah, man, it's going to be something. You know anything about this? I'm not familiar.
There was allegedly a picture that was floating around that they had a check for a championship this year that the team was doing, making a joke out of it, kind of like, we won the championship. If they had a point system, it's kind of like one of those what if scenarios. And apparently some people got upset about it and thought that it was in poor taste, and they didn't really agree with it. But you
got to have some fun sometime,
you gotta have
man.
Some fun, right? I mean, everybody knows it's fake and it's not serious, and nobody won a championship. Nobody got anything. There is no champions this year. I mean, there was a recurring joke in the TV truck too, because they're like, oh, what are we going to do? How do we make a points graphic? Oh, wait, there is no points. And it's like, well, we can make a TV champion. They're like, don't put that on air. No, there is no TV champion. There's no nothing. So, no, nobody won anything officially for anything this year other than checks and trophies and accolades of an awesome job of driving. And those will come next year, though. The championship checks are coming.
Yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm looking forward to all of it. It's going to be like a smorgasbord of drag racing. I think we're all going to be fat and full in 2026. Real quick, there's really not a whole lot to talk about with the NHRA.
Oh yeah, there is. Oh yeah, there is.
Well, go ahead, because the championships are a wrap.
There is one rock solid story with the NHRA that came out this week.
Missed it.
No, you didn't.
Oh no, it's the Rock.
Rockingham Dragway, baby. 2026. How about that? The Rock is back. The Rock is roaring again in 2026, and for a full official national event, yes, they held the Winston Invitational there from 1989 to 1998 before it switched to the No Bull Showdown and went to its home in Bristol for its final 2 years and then went away entirely. But and that race was also because somebody had inquired earlier in the week because they recall that there were sportsman cars that were there. It actually raced in conjunction with a Division II divisional event for the Sportsman Series. So if you were a Winston Invitational winner in the sportsman classes, you basically won the Division II event at Rockingham Dragway. They overlaid with each other, and it's cool to see that come back. And there's a long list of historic winners and historic happenings at Rockingham that kind of get forgotten about because it was an invitational race, 8 car fields in the nitro categories, 16 car fields in pro stock. The motorcycles weren't there very much at all. And the 1989 Winston Invitational has a footnote in history. It is the last NHRA national event or national event level event that had no TV coverage because Rockingham and Dallas came onto the fold, came onto the 1989 schedule so early, early in the year, because if you remember in 1988, Billy Meyer still owned the IHRA, and the Chief Nationals and Rockingham Dragway both held IHRA national events. And when that went away at the end of 1988, they hurried up and reshuffled the schedule in 1989 to get both on the schedule. You also might remember the original versions of the Winston All-Stars. The first version happened at the Texas Motorplex in 1987. And in 1988, it moved to Atlanta Dragway the same year that NASCAR moved their version of the Winston to Atlanta Raceway. And then it ended up making its home back at Charlotte, and the Winston Invitational ended up making its home back at Rockingham, thanks to Steve Earwood moving over there from Atlanta Dragway to Rockingham Dragway, becoming the track owner and bringing Winston right there in Winston's backyard, basically. And it became a big to-do and celebration and money-only affair. But how about that, man? Rockingham, with so much history in the sport, IHRA before that, AHRA in the late 60s, and now an NHRA official national event in the countdown, no less, to decide a championship September 2026. Be there.
Yeah, man, that's going to be fun. I remember my fondest memories of Rockingham is seeing the Tom McEwen Coors Corvette. It was like a burgundy color, and also Dale Pooley in that Miller, that classic yellow and orange. That's what I remember about Rockingham the most. It's gonna be fun. I'm glad that it's back, and it is part of a national event countdown, no less. It should be fun. I think it's gonna be a great turnout there as well. It's going to be very, very interesting next year. A lot of cool stuff, a lot of new tracks. It's going to be a really, really cool year for drag racing as a whole.
And we got one more weekend, and then it's all over. Man, that's hard to believe. We're down to it. We're down to handing out checks and trophies and calling it a winner until March.
Yep, I'm really actually ready to call it a winner. It's it's been a busy season. Your boy is ready to be done and focus on one thing instead of like 3 things. I'm ready for it to be packed up and done. It's been real fun, but it's time to turn out the lights and let the party be over.
Out on 2025 and get ready for 2026. I hear you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Man, I want to thank all of our guests. It was very much a pleasure having on Scott. Very candid. It was nice to get that breaking news about the 8th mile running in 2026. And Paul Miller, fuel altereds forever, baby. They're going to be back next year. It's going to be fun, man. I love those cars. I think the fans love them too. And they're just a real good addition to the show. Again, IHRA thinking outside of the box and doing something different. And I'm glad that they get to be a part of the show.
To be one of the people instrumental in bringing them there and ended up winning the second race. I mean, that's a pretty good storybook ending, don't you think, to the season? Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, we do have the Drag Illustrated Winter Series.
The Winter Series, yep.
Yep, that's always nice.
Down in Pro Mod, down in Florida, yep.
Yep. But Dave, man, what a hell of a year for you.
Oh, yeah, that probably my most favorite for sure, yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny, you go back 6 months ago and just like everybody else, you're like, man, what is this IHRA stuff? IHRA's coming back? Really? I mean, we've heard that before. And on the professional level, really? And then you show up in July to that Columbus race, and it just became a whirlwind from there. I am so thankful that they allowed me to be a part of the show in so many different capacities, from statistics to getting to play Steve Evans and do top-end interviews at the rain-delayed Columbus show. I mean, I had a ball doing it all, and if I never got to do it again, I'll tell you what, I lived a dream this year, but I am so looking forward to next year and hope to get to be part of it again and travel around and have a little more insight on all this stuff that we're talking about here with this new series.
Yeah, man. It'll happen. It's going to happen, and I couldn't be more excited for you, man. It's really wild where all of us have gotten here over the last year or so. Darren working for John Force. I got an opportunity to work for a drag racing series, being the swing camera guy and learning all these things about streaming. And you got a chance to put your history and knowledge of the sport to work. And it's been awesome. It's been awesome. I'm proud of all of us. I'm really more happy for everybody else than myself. I mean, I guess I'm just always a little bit too humble, but I'm just thankful to be there and thankful to have had the opportunity.
Sure.
And we're thankful for you guys. A big turnout tonight. Great turnout. Great comments. You guys really were giving us a lot.
Yeah. Even though we're not able to display everything that pops up, I definitely watch the comments scrolling on by, and if any questions pop up, try and answer something that I see. But yeah, there's so many Annette Summer in the comments. Hours in the comments. I mean, so many people were watching and that are part of the show that are showing an interest in watching us talk about the show. So thank you all for tuning in, and that was really awesome to see. And I guess next thing up is NHRA and then PRI and a short break and start it all over again.
Yes, sir. Looking forward to it. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Competition Plus Power Hour. We thank you so much for tuning in and being a part of the show. And I'll close this thing out the way my guy, Monday Morning Racer, would. God bless, and keep the pedal to the metal.
QuarterMileClassifieds.com is a new and easier alternative to online classified advertising. We make it a simple experience with $20 getting your car, hauler, engine, or parts listed for 2 weeks. If you want to make a bigger splash, we have VIP listings that provide even more exposure, including social media. On QuarterMileClassifieds.com, you get up to 10 photos of video and up to 2,000 characters to deliver the message you need to make the sale. QuarterMileClassifieds.com is a trusted classified ad partner of Competition Plus and the Roof Deck Top Eliminator Bonus Fund. Visit QuarterMileClassifieds.com today.